Welcome to the Travel Business Unpacked, where we break down what it takes to build a thriving travel business. Here's your host, co-founder of Gifted Travel Network and best-selling author, Meredith Calloway.
Hello, and welcome to the Travel Business Unpacked podcast. I am your host, Meredith Calloway, and on today's episode, we have another Travel MBA alum, Ashley Carlson of Carlson Travel Co. Welcome to the podcast, Ashley. Thanks for joining.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Well, it is an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast. Before we started recording, Ashley was admitting to me that she was a little nervous about doing this. And I want to commend you for doing it anyway, because I have this saying that I like to talk about. I think I've written about many times, probably have stood on stage and talked about it, but it's, that, and I learned it from Stephen Pressfield, who wrote The Art of War. So he writes books to authors who really struggle with writing. And it's that inner resistance. And the quote that he says that I love is, the activity that is most important to the evolution of your soul, you will resist the most.
Love that. I love that.
Something tells me maybe you need a podcast.
I've learned to never say never, right? Right now, my instinct is like, nope, that is never going to happen, but you never know.
Never know. So you are a mom to 3 boys. You are a former school teacher. So there's a lot of things that I think are really relatable about your journey. So let's begin with, how did you make this decision to take this leap? And maybe you decided life is too short to not have a career that lights you up. What triggered you, or what stimulated you to do this travel entrepreneurial journey?
Okay. Well, I think that, like a lot of advisors, I loved planning travel, loved traveling. I was the travel planner of my college friend group. It kind of everyone knew I was the organizer. That part was always there, and I'd always talked about it. And I wish I lived in at that time, travel agents. I wish travel agents were still a thing. I was thinking,
Yeah.
in the early 2000s, like that wasn't a career option anymore. And so I kind of got stuck in that mental trap and wrote it off, went off and did my thing as a teacher and a mom. And then had a good conversation with my dad one day about, not having regrets in life. And I'd always talked about wanting to get into travel. And then after that conversation with him, I thought, why not? Like, why can't I figure this out? So I started researching and somehow found Virtuoso first. And then I decided, okay, I need a host agency through Virtuoso. Found host agency reviews and started looking at options there. And then because of my education background, I wanted something in person. That was very important to me. And that narrowed my options way down.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. But then I started researching, found Gifted, and I was like, okay, I think this is it. And then interviewed, and I kind of just was like, I have to go for this. Like,
Yeah.
don't give myself too much time to think, put yourself out there. And I signed up and haven't looked back since.
So that was, you were April or August of 23 cohort.
August.
So you graduated in August of 24. What did you think of that first year? Like, if there was a rose and a thorn, what would you say? What were the highs and what were the challenges that maybe you might have expected them, maybe didn't, but just to manage someone's expectations?
Yeah. I mean, I felt like I was kind of, going blind, to be honest. You kind of just, in that sense, like the fake it till you make it, I was following all the instructions, checking off everything off my list as far as the MBA program went, getting my website branding, putting myself out there in front of clients. But yeah, you kind of just, I felt like I was like, I don't know if I know what I'm doing. Did I make the right choice? Is this the right thing? But I met so many incredible people through the cohort, which is why I knew that I wanted something in person for that reason. I wanted a group of people. I'm still very, very close with my cohort. We talk all the time. I mean, every week we travel together. And that was I mean, hugely successful for all of our businesses. But yeah,
Yeah.
especially for me, just having those people you can go to talk through the hard days,
'Cause
the
no
good
one
days.
really understands it, right?
Yeah,
I mean, even your own people closest to you, they don't really get it.
you can't. Yeah, unless
Yeah,
you're in it. Yeah, it's an interesting industry in that way too.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's very
It's
nice to.
already very isolating. Most people are starting a travel business from their own home, and that's one of the reasons why we thought it was so important to do the cohort. By the way, do not be self-conscious of the dog barking. This is, this is life.
Trying to balance everything.
This
Yeah.
is life. This is the entrepreneurial journey. If I were at home, I'd probably have a dog barking too. So
Yeah.
there's
She's probably
nothing to be
just not on
self-conscious
my lap right
about.
now.
We are fur baby lovers here. And they're welcome to contribute to the podcast too. So the cohort structure, which we right now we do 4 cohorts a year. If we see demand for more cohorts a year, we will open up more cohorts, but we will not abandon that cohort structure because it really creates a mastermind environment. And that's why I say one of the components to the Travel MBA program is a mentored mastermind program. What is a mastermind? Well, I think it was one of the most important changes or things that I layered into my journey when I was trying to figure out how to monetize this passion for travel many, many, many years ago was joining a mastermind. It was because you have this ability to tap into the collective wisdom of other people who are on a similar journey.
Yeah,
Now, the beauty of Travel Business University as a whole, specifically in the Travel MBA program, is that everybody in your mastermind group is in the exact same business. When I did the mastermind journey, I was the only one selling travel. Everybody else was most likely some kind of a coach. And that business model is very different than the travel advisor's business model. So I really had to dig deep and figure out how to tweak what I was learning to the travel industry. And sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. But so the cohort structure really helped you because it's just someone to relate to on a daily basis. And
yeah,
you might
yeah.
feel like, oh my gosh, am I really doing this? Did I do the right thing? But if you have someone to bring that to, they can be like, "You know what? I felt the same way," and then you don't feel so alone.
Exactly, and we find it incredibly helpful to each other. I was just texting someone yesterday about an Iceland trip, and they were like, "Oh, I'll send you one that I did." I love that
Yeah,
everyone's so free to share information, to help each other out. It's a really nice environment to be in.
yeah.
So I'm grateful for that for sure.
So how does your business look different today than it did when you graduated from the cohort?
I think my confidence is
Yes.
so much higher. That in itself helps me present myself differently, my business
Yeah.
differently. It's not as many, my clients are not as much friends and family. That's how I started out, which I'm very grateful for. And a lot of them are still my clients, but I've gotten to move out into what I call
Sometimes they're just the stepping
strangers.
stones, right?
Yeah, you have to have someone to start out with. But yeah, so now I have my new clients that are strangers to me or new to me.
Yeah.
And I've learned to really put myself out there and really do really uncomfortable things. Like I've given
Oh,
in-person presentations, which I hadn't done since college. And
wow.
again, yeah, did not want to do it, but I'm like, this is the best way to grow, as a
Yeah.
person and within my business. And I've done filmed videos for a local magazine.
Oh my
Again,
goodness.
was nervous about that, but I've had clients, give me good feedback from those that they learned about me and my story from. So yeah, I
Wow.
think I'm learning to grow myself in new ways and stretch myself that I was not even aware of or even capable of when before I'd even entered.
Yeah. That's an awesome answer. I wanna go back to the in-person consultation. Has it changed your opinion of doing in-person consultations?
Yes, yes. I think that, I don't have to do it all the time, but sometimes there's certain clients. I think part
Mm,
of being a teacher too, I've learned how to see different personalities, different learning styles, and that like I apply
yeah,
that to my clients. Each one of them is receptive in different ways and they need a
yeah,
different part of me or a different side of me. So learning how to kind of meet them where they're at and what works best
Yeah.
for them. So yeah, but I think at the beginning I would have said, I'm not doing that. Yeah.
Because we have some old school travel advisors in our community that swear by meeting the client in person or the prospect in person, and that their close ratio or closing percentage is 100% when they meet in person.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it even on Zoom versus a phone call is so much
yeah.
more successful because I think
Mhm.
they get to see you as a real human. You can connect, make eye contact. Yeah, they can. I think you can sense that feeling of trust too. That this person, yeah, I will trust them with this, huge resource and all this money that I'm willing to invest in this trip. So yeah, seeing someone face to face and hearing them talk and seeing my passion for it, I think
Yeah.
yeah, translates so much better for sure. But I also have clients that they would want nothing to do with that too. You know, they're good. They
I
don't need
don't
to.
need it.
Yeah.
Especially the repeats.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Those are the easiest ones too.
Mhm.
Then they can just quickly call me and we can go
Yeah.
fast. But yeah.
So you are a former school teacher. Did you have to quit that career to start the business, or had you already kind of ended that career?
Yeah. I had already ended. So I was a school teacher for 7 years. I taught second grade and fifth grade. And then I stopped teaching when I adopted my oldest son. I wanted to spend time with him. And then I went on to have two more boys. So I was a stay-at-home mom for almost 10 years,
Oh,
and
wow.
then yeah, it was at that time when my kids were my youngest was in preschool that I'm like, "Okay, I wanna go back into the workforce. What do I wanna do? I don't wanna go back into teaching," and then that's when I was like,
Right.
I'm gonna do this. I've talked about it for years. I'm gonna figure out how to get into the travel industry."
I love that. So you already said that because you're a school teacher, you're well skilled at identifying the different learning styles and then being able to meet people where they are, which is a huge asset, a huge, like, very important skill set to be able to bring to sales, which is basically what you're doing is travel sales. Is there anything else that you can think of that you honed really well while you were a school teacher?
I think for sure being able to sense needs, obviously, I had little children that were my clients, I guess, in that way, but I had their parents too and colleagues, but being able to sense their needs before, I think I'm really, really good at watching people's face and I can tell, what they need. And so that's why also those consultation calls, seeing someone's face is so much more helpful
Yeah,
for me because I can tailor what I'm, talking about or what I can sense what they might want. You can tell the difference between a husband and a wife when you're having the conversations with them and what they want and out of a trip. And so being able to merge the two visions and the two personalities, but organization, I think staying
right.
calm under pressure is a
Yeah,
huge
that's
one that
true.
I learned with children. I always had to be the calm one in the classroom. So I would say I'm very good under pressure. Weirdly, I think that, the flight's canceled, everything's messed up. I'm like, okay, I got this. I know how to,
Yeah.
go through that. But yeah, I think it all came back to teaching and
Yeah.
working with young children definitely paved the way for me.
Hey, Travel Business Unpacked listeners, Meredith Calloway here. If you're enjoying the podcast, I've got something else I think you'll love. The book, The Seven Figure Travel Entrepreneur, is officially out now. It's all about building a business that's intentional, profitable, and actually sustainable, and leads to six-figure earnings. And I've made the entire first chapter free for you. It's my way of saying thank you for listening and being a part of this community as you build your luxury travel business. You can download it now at giftedtravelnetwork.com/book. Now, let's get back to the episode. All right, so let's talk about the one of the first things you do in the Travel MBA program is the branding journey. Your brand is so beautiful. So if anyone wants to check it out, it's Carlson Travel Co.com. And Carlson's just how it sounds, Carlson travelco.com, and use Ashley if you want to use her for her travel services because she's excellent at what she does. But your website is just, I don't know, it's just chef's kiss, as Kristen Matthews likes to say.
Yes, I
um
worked very hard on that. It
Okay,
was a
so let's hear about it. Like, what was the hardest part? Did it take longer than you really thought it was gonna take? What was easier than you thought it was gonna be?
I mean, I think I definitely struggled with, do I hire it out or do I not, you know?
Yeah.
I obviously came from public education, I didn't need a website, and so, going into that, once I came down to it and I did hire someone to help me build it that already had the templates, and that was well worth the, investment for sure.
Mhm.
I've
Yeah.
gotten a lot of good feedback from my website from clients, or just from anyone else that goes. And I was able to translate my style and my vision to the website developer, and I think she nailed it too. She got
Yeah.
understood me for sure.
You hired a copywriter, and how did you come to that decision to hire a copywriter to help you with your copy, and how did you find the right one?
That was a struggle. I first thought I could do it myself. I sat
Mhm.
down to write it and realized it was very hard. I did not want it to be AI, I did not want
Yeah.
yeah, to go. I needed it to be my authentic voice and to really tell my story. And then I have my friend's husband works in copywriting, so I met with him, talked with him, and through having that conversation with him, I originally thought maybe he would just give me advice and I'd be able to write it. Then I was like, okay, there's so much more that goes into this, and I just wanted everything done professionally and right from the beginning. So I then reached out to some other advisors and found someone that they had recommended and
Okay.
was able to get the copywriting done. Yeah. And it was well worth the time and investment to do the website all the way. It was done from the beginning, and it's something that I haven't had to. I've updated a few pictures or a few things,
Yeah.
very little, or added a couple pages, but I really haven't had to, go back and redo the entire thing or rebrand or anything, which I'm very happy and very proud. Like that
Yeah.
was one of the major things when I started. I was like, I want to do this right. And that's why I went into the MBA program. I want to
Yeah.
learn the business the right way. I want to be prepared. I want to have all of my ducks in a row in a sense so that when I come out, I'm ready to go
Mhm.
into this and be successful and I'm not like going backwards and repeating. So yeah, I think it was well worth the investment for the website and for the copywriter for me.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, it it wasn't Emily Matris, is it? That did the website copy?
What is she? The Bon Beyond?
Yes. Bon
Yes.
Vivant.
Yeah, Bob Navant, yes. Yes, it was her. Yeah,
Oh my
Vaughn,
goodness. That
yes.
is such a cool story
Wasn't
because
she GTN too?
yes, she was our
Yeah.
very first employee.
Oh my gosh.
The
Okay, I
very
remember this now, like, yeah,
very first
to her years
employee.
ago.
I think it was a gift too. It wasn't even GCN. It was, it was when it was just Jen Cochran, Vanessa McGovern, and myself. And Jen, in her very CEO way, was like, "We need to hire an employee." And we were like, "What? I'm not ready for an employee." And she's like, "Well, you need to hire ahead of your preparedness for it." And it was Emily. And so I love that she's continuing to be of service to the travel advisor community because that's how she got her start is with Gift
Love that.
or
Yeah,
GTN. She's a
good.
great writer.
So good. Yeah,
So her company is Bon Vivant, BonVivant.com, I think would be her website. And
and she was
she's
quick too. She's
she's
responsive.
quick. She's a really, really good writer.
Yeah,
And she really captures your essence, and she writes in a way that is elevated, sophisticated, but still friendly and casual. I don't know. There's something
yeah.
about it that just nails it. Is she still traveling the world while she does this?
Yeah, I think she was in Italy, I remember
Yeah.
talking to her while she was doing mine, yeah.
She spends like half the year in the States and the other half the year in Italy or something like
She's
that.
figured it out. That's a
She has
great setup.
figured it out. Yes, she has. So on the marketing side, this is like, I think people who are looking to start the business or get into the luxury business are always like, what do you do to market? How do you attract the right kind of clients? They're always looking for that silver bullet or the action plan. And that's important, but the mental fitness journey is also important. But let's just talk about the action journey on the marketing side. You mentioned you write for a magazine.
Yes.
What are some of the things that you're doing to market right now
Yes,
that
so
seem to be working?
yeah, I write 4 articles a year for, the local magazine in my community, and it just goes out to my little town.
Okay.
And then I also have an ad in there every month, and that has been very successful.
Good.
Not
Where
just
are
to get
you
my name
based? Out of curiosity.
in Camas, Washington, so just
Okay.
across the river from Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
So a little suburb outside, but yeah, it's been very successful for me. I think it's a great way. I grew up here, and so I think it was a great way for me to show that not only am I from this town, and I was able to bring back parts of that I taught in this town, and then now I have my own business within it. And so I think that has resonated with
Yeah.
people, or they just now people. It's as a travel business, you don't have a storefront. It's hard to get your name out there. And so you do have to be more intentional about how you do that. So the magazine was one way for me to just let people know that I existed. I have done in person speaking events for people that I've met. I spoke to at a retirees
Oh, cool.
monthly meeting just about travel, which who doesn't want to hear about travel? So
Yeah.
that has been helpful. I just put myself out there as much as possible.
Mhm.
And I'd say one thing that I'm very good at is just talking to people. In school, my teachers used to say that I talk too much. I'd always get, talks too much in class. I would always come out words. And so I would say that I found a career that allows me to do that. This is one of my strengths. I talk to everyone. I've gotten clients from the airplanes. I have a client that I met on an airplane is currently in Ireland right now because I just talk and it just comes up. What are you doing? What do you do
Yeah.
for a living? And then everyone has this passion for travel. And I think that I can
Yeah.
convey that really well. And then we just end up being friends. And
Awesome. But I think, we are so at GTN and in the Travel MBA program, we are pretty insistent on the sequencing in that first year. And the very first thing we get people to dive into is the brand and designing a brand that is unique to you. And branding includes your name. It includes the most important part of the brand or the foundational part, not most important. The foundational part of your brand is your messaging. And we get you to develop your own core compelling message so that then you can build a brand, a visual brand around that messaging and name. I love that you named it after your own name. It's an easy name. And to me, that is, I always say to people, don't be cute when you're coming up with your name for your business. Cute names scream hobbyist. You
yeah,
want it to be clear. And Carlson Travel Co. is very clear and it also rolls off the tongue very easily. So great job in the name. But what stood out to me in what you're saying and in all these different like little things that you're doing to market the business, could you imagine trying to do that if you didn't have a brand?
yeah, you have to have the brand. I mean,
You
that's,
have to have a
yeah,
brand.
yeah,
So many
it doesn't
people
work that way.
like
Yeah,
rush to it or, if some people I think there's a lot of people out there who see the franchise opportunities and they think, "Oh, that's a great way to start a travel business because I don't have to worry about a brand and I don't have to worry about it's a business in a box."
yeah,
But once you invest in a franchise, you still have to go out and get clients.
yeah, yeah,
And you have to figure out how to distinguish yourself from other franchisees in the same franchise. And so I feel like the franchise is a bit of a bait and switch sometimes. And that it's so much more powerful to have your own brand and
right,
you're building equity in it, right? It's something that
right.
you can ultimately sell. So yeah, I mean, just having that brand, I think, and then having that attitude of just putting yourself out there all the time, just being willing to put yourself out there, which is not easy. That is the mental fitness journey right there.
Totally is, yeah. I mean, I've grown so much in that way because I have done that, yeah, putting yourself out and doing things that make you uncomfortable, like
Yeah.
writing. I was never considered myself a writer before writing the articles. Did I mean, I still really don't enjoy public speaking, but I do it, and not just as, like, a sales goal focus, it's just to, meet people, put yourself out there, and also just to stretch yourself. I think it's so important to continue to grow as a
Yeah.
human and not just stop and be complacent. But yeah, so I think I have
Yeah.
grown an incredible amount by doing that. But I think without my branding, without my logo, and I joke to my friends, if you look at my Instagram, it's a lot of pictures of myself. And it's not because I'm really vain or I just do like I didn't have very many pictures of myself alone traveling or doing things
Right.
before this industry, but I am my brand. I
Yeah.
am,
Yeah.
I'm representing what I am passionate about doing and what I want to do for other people. So that involves me, pictures of me in places. And so my Instagram is a lot of me, but I joke looking back at my camera roll before and after being in the industry is very different now with all the me. But yeah, you are your brand, and it's important to represent that. I think it
Yeah.
speaks to a professional level, and it's something to really be proud of too.
Absolutely. That's the other thing that I think when you go the franchise route, and this is not a bashing on the franchise route by any
Right.
means. I just I have a hard time taking my own perspective off of it and or my filter of what I've seen in the travel industry off of it. But I think there's I love the branding process for our travel MBAers because when you do it right, like you have done, you just get so proud of it once it's done, you
Yeah,
know? And
it is.
those
It's a sense of accomplishment,
it's
that you
such a
really
sense of
feel. Yeah.
accomplishment. It's something you can be so proud of. Like you can go to your website and be like, wow, this is me, you know? I say it's like it's almost like going to a tailor and having a custom suit designed just for you or a custom dress, I suppose. And then you put it on and you're just like, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah, I do. I agree with that.
So the branded assets like the website, the logo, just the name itself, without those, the business card, without those, you can't just be marketing all the time in your normal daily life because you have nothing to fall back onto. And and then you end up saying things like, "Well, I'm just beginning." And I think that's a terrible thing to say, is even if you are just beginning.
Yeah. I think there's a few steps that you have to take when you're starting out that I think are
Yeah,
necessary and sometimes it's easy to convince yourself, well, maybe I'll just do that later.
right.
Let me make some money first. But I think that it's really put me on a trajectory that's different because I've laid the foundation correctly. I'm in a different spot than I feel like I would have been in if I hadn't done it. So
Yes, right. Yeah, by now you'd be falling into that accidental hobbyist trap where you are busy, 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 but you've stalled in, on the client attraction side and stalled on, and then you start getting desperate, right? You start taking any and all business that comes your way.
yeah,
Um, which
that's not a good place to be, but yeah.
not to be, and our own travel MBAers fall into that too, but they don't stay stuck in it.
Right. Oh,
Um,
yeah, when I started, yeah, you take what you can get and you'd
you
use
take
it as
what
a
you can
learning experience for
get. It
sure.
is
Yeah, every trip. But yes, eventually it's nice when you move to the next steps and
when you can say no.
progress out of that. Yeah.
Are you so how are you on the fee charging? Are you charging a fee? Are you comfortable with charging a fee because you've been doing it from day one? Where do you stand on the charging a fee thing?
Yes, I do charge a fee, for most trips. Sometimes there's situations if it's, they already come
Yeah.
to me with a hotel that it doesn't necessarily apply, but yes, I had to force myself. I remember you talking to us a lot about that and getting past that mental block in the beginning, and I don't know why it was so hard. Some people, in my cohort had no problem, but I don't know why that it was a bit of a mental block to get through, but I did from the beginning charge.
Yeah.
So now I'm much more comfortable having that conversation and explaining why. I'm also comfortable with clients walking away from that if they, not of interest. So yeah, I think it's been very powerful. There's a lot of work that goes into building trips for
Yeah.
clients.
So
And
much.
so yeah, it's an extra layer of protection for sure, but it also I think a lot of clients expect it
Yeah.
in a professional standpoint, like they're hiring you to do something for them. It feels good for them to, feel like it's an actual profession that requires someone professional and trusted to do that. So, yes, I feel like I'm much more confident, but yeah, it is a huge mental block at the beginning to get through, at least for me.
Yeah. So we asked on the forum when for you to become a podcast guest, what's your superpower? and you put building connections, I think, or just under, yeah. So talk to us about your superpower when it comes to planning travel.
Oh my gosh. Well, I kind of mentioned a little bit, but I do just talk to everyone. One
Yeah.
of my first trips, my first international trip was in my 20s. Went to Italy with my then husband or my husband, and I fell in love with Italy. But I really loved, we did this like wine tour, and I met this lady that, was from Italy, and she and I could barely speak to each other, but we found ways to connect. And I still remember her and what we talked about, and kind of this beautiful moment of realizing that the world is very big, but it's also really small, when we ended
Yeah.
up talking about, Nike shoes or something that we small that we connected on in this beautiful farmhouse from the 1400s. And so
Wow.
I realized, I didn't realize how much of a superpower that was for me until later in life, but I just have
Yeah.
always had this ability to talk to people and connect and find things. I mean, I've talked to people all over the world. I've met people when I've traveled that have become friends, met clients that have, on, like I said, on the airplane.
Mhm.
I just love people. I love connecting with people. I love
Yeah.
hearing their stories and their experiences. I mean, so many of my clients will tell me about their first trips overseas. So I think that is not only helped my business, but it's been really fun. I've gotten to meet so many amazing people just by talking to them, and all these clients that have become friends where they invite me to their house for tea or coffee and show me their pictures from the travels that I've planned for them, and bring me back gifts that on the trips that I'm planning for them. So yeah, but I mean, I think it just comes from genuinely, I really love people. I love
Yeah.
talking to people, and I would do it all day if I
Such
could.
a great It's such a great personality trait to just be so interested in people. And I loved when I read about that on the about section of your website, how you were on your honeymoon and you didn't expect to come back, and one of your favorite aspects of your honeymoon was the other people you met because you're on the trip for two. That's supposed to be romantic.
Yeah.
But I totally can relate to what you were saying. Absolutely. There's so many, it's like the people you meet when you're traveling, maybe because you're just more open. I don't know. You just, you strike up connections that just don't happen in everyday life. So I completely agree with you on that part. But there's something you said earlier that I think is also, you know, I think where this has come into play. You said, when you're talking with like someone like a husband and wife team, and you're able to decipher really what he wants
Mhm.
versus what she wants,
Yes,
and layer in both. I mean, that is so valuable because that is what is the difference between your client coming back to you and your client referring you to others or not.
exactly. Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah, being able to listen to both sides and anticipate, yeah, what type of trip they
Well,
want, because
interpret,
yeah.
right?
Yes,
I mean, part
because
of it,
one person is usually the lead traveler, but there are
yeah.
multiple people traveling with different personalities or different wants and
Mhm.
needs. So yes, being able to understand that, I think, yeah, comes with, yeah, my ability to connect with people, but yeah, also kind of listen and figure them out,
Yeah.
and anticipate, yeah, what type of trip they're really looking for.
Yeah.
Yes.
So one thing that often surprises people who are brand new to the industry, and once they go through the program and then start to do more and more booking, the thing that surprises many of them is how important the partner relations are. Have you found that? And can you give an example?
Yes, I think early on I underestimated that. We
Yeah.
talk about it in MBA, or once you get into the forums, and would hear other advisors, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what that means, or I'm not in a,
Mm.
I just didn't have the brain capacity early on. And then once I, initially started developing those relationships, it's like, oh wow, like this is how it is. I mean, I have one of the sales directors, Erin Stewart from Fairmont, Scottsdale. She's like my favorite person in the world now, but she
Wow.
is amazing every time I've sent clients there. Like, she just goes above and beyond, either, to even if it's just putting them in like a really good room, she puts all the extras, treats in their room. She really not only makes me look really good, but my clients feel so loved. And then she's also just a great resource. If I can call her at any time to ask her. I've done group trips, to her hotel, sent families and clients, anything. So I think what I underestimated was how much help. And I think I also struggled at the beginning with like, I don't want to bug them. I
Yeah.
don't want to email them. And I remember someone saying to me early on, like, you're supposed to email me. Please ask me. Like, that's what I'm here for. And so I've gotten so much more comfortable with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Asking for help with either understanding the product, but most importantly, like, making sure my clients' trips have that extra like wow factor to them.
I think that is such a valuable point that you said. And thank you for being so vulnerable about it because you were like, I don't want to pester them. And it's ironic you said that because I just saw a post yesterday. Now I think her name is Katie. Can't remember her last name. She's with Celebrated Experiences.
Yes, Katie. I love
She
Katie.
she is it yeah, she posted on LinkedIn this article about her perspective of travel advisors and why she values them so much. And her background was she was on a concierge team at a very five-star hotel in Scotland in I think in Edinburgh. And what she learned being on that concierge team is that the value of travel advisors is when they used to actually be so excited to work with the clients that were being booked by, luxury travel advisors because everybody supports everybody. And when you're working together as a team like that, you're so much more likely to nail it with the client. It's absolutely teamwork. And she said that they would literally prefer the travel advisor clients, not prefer them, but they just knew how to really nail the experience for the client so much better than someone who just booked directly and wasn't communicating. So I thought that was a really interesting perspective and also undermines that belief. I don't want to pester them. I don't want to bother them. No, 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 no. They want to be bothered because they want to do a good job. And the only
Right.
way you can do a good job is to have that kind of communication from you.
Yeah. I've gotten so much more comfortable too, just asking them like what kinds of things can you help with,
Yeah.
and then talking with them and realizing how many amazing experiences. There's like a hotel in France. They were telling me that they, will make the chocolate out of the shape of, the kid's dog that was traveling
Oh,
to the hotel because he missed his dog. Like there's really incredible things that so many people are willing to do because we all love creating these special moments for people along the way. So yes, getting past that like initial like I'm bugging you and into the like how can we work together and really be a strong partnership
yeah.
for our clients. Yeah, it's been very life changing for my business is
Yeah.
opening those doors. Yeah, for sure.
Because you're able to create moments for your client that wouldn't have happened without you.
Exactly. And those are sometimes the things they talk about. I have
Yeah.
clients just on a trip now, and I put balloons in the kids' room or in their room, and I didn't even tell the parents I was doing it, and they were so thrilled and taking so many pictures. And it's just, something simple like that. But yeah, the little kids were so happy and excited. So there's this ability to do some things that are really, really fun. Yeah. A lot of joy and fulfillment comes out of that too.
Hi, Travel Business Unpacked listeners. The travel industry has a problem that few people are talking about. There's a massive business education gap, and it's why so many advisors fall into the accidental hobbyist trap. At Gifted Travel Network, offering meaningful business education and guidance has been at the heart of what we do since day one. Travel Business University is how we're solving for it, and whether you're brand new to the industry, in building and growth mode, or already running a seven-figure business, TBU has a program and a community designed for exactly where you are. Visit giftedtravelnetwork.com or check out the link in the description to learn more and apply. So you still have 3 boys at home.
Yes.
Cool. So how has that been navigating the entrepreneurial journey with the mom journey? Because just because they're in school doesn't mean your your to-do list gets cut back.
Oh my gosh. Do you have another hour to talk about that? Yeah, that has been one of my very biggest struggles, I think before I was 10, I didn't work the first 10 years that I had kids,
Mhm.
and I never obviously understood this whole work-life balance, and I remember calling one of my best friends from college, and I was like, "There's no such thing as balance, is there?" And she's like, "No, you're not going to, like, be perfectly balanced," and I was like, "I get it now. I get why you were so stressed out." Like, it's very hard. I've
Yeah.
learned to outsource a bit for
Oh,
sure as
good.
far as, like, cleaning. My mom, and dad help quite a bit,
Great.
but I think the first 2 years have been a huge learning experience for me. I've had
Mhm.
to work on setting boundaries with myself around
Yeah.
my business and prioritizing, learning when to shut down the computer, when the kids come home. I've really been intentional about moments that I create with them. I do like Cookie Friday. Naturally, boys don't want to tell you everything as much as, and
Yeah.
again, me wanting to talk all the time. So I make them cookies and they have to sit down with me after school and talk to me for a few minutes while they eat it. Then they can go play. And then I've also started, I do one-on-one trips with each of my boys.
I
And
love this idea.
yeah, and it's kind of started when I had a baby and then with my middle child had a hard time when I had a baby. And so we would just go to like this local hotel for one night and eat snacks and swim.
Yeah.
And then once I was in the travel industry, it's like, you're going to come with me on trips. And so my 6-year-old and I just got back from a Silver Sea cruise in the Mediterranean just a couple weeks ago.
Oh my
And
god.
yeah, we had the best time. But yeah, creating these moments with us where I could still work while I was there.
Yeah.
And he was super okay with that. But we also got to, have these incredible
Ah,
moment together in Spain, and he was the star of the show on the ship, so he
oh, I
was he
bet.
was happy. But
Wow.
yes, yeah,
I am blown away by that. That is such a good idea, and I love that not only did you have the idea, you actually followed through with it.
yes. I mean, we've kept it up for a few years now, and the boys I've had a lot of questions, like, people like, "Do they get jealous? Are they, sad that they're not going?" But, I mean, they all get to have a say in where we go, and so they're all excited, "Where are you going with mom?" Or, "I'm going here," and,
Okay.
they look forward to it. So I'm hoping that it will keep transitioning, through the teenage years, that they'll still think I'm cool enough to travel with, but, I think it's been very great for our, relationship as I've gone back to work. They've had a hard time,
Yeah.
there's less of me, but then they get to see me in a different light. I get to go and we stay up late and we have fun together, um, and then they're kind of like, "Okay, this is what you do." Like, we're kind of understanding a little bit more of why you're doing this. But yeah, I mean, even on the cruise the last time, there were just other passengers on the ship that I was talking about, like, "Why are you here with just your son?" And they were like, "I love that. I'm gonna do that." And they have adult children. They were like, "I'm gonna take my kids on a one-on-one trip." Like, so it
Yeah.
does, like, people are like, "This is a really cool idea." But yeah, it's been very, very, very positive for my boys.
It's funny, my husband has it's a second marriage, so we have our own kids individually that we've brought together in our combined family, but he has twin boys, and years ago when we first started dating, I remember him talking about that struggle. He's not an entrepreneur even, but he was talking about that struggle with when you have twins and those are his only kids. So it's like having an only child, but they're a package so much of the time.
Yeah,
Even in sports, they would play the
yep,
same sport, be on the same team. So y- y- I don't know if I suggested it or he suggested it, but at one point he started just going out on a date night with each
yeah,
individually once a week. And it makes such a difference. It
it does.
makes such a difference. So what's your cadence? Does each one get a trip a year?
Yeah, I mean, the benefit is I guess I like to travel enough, so that's 3
Yeah.
extra trips for me, but yes, they're not all as extravagant as a Silver Sea cruise in the Mediterranean, but, yes, they've all gotten an international trip, and then, when one
Wow.
of my other son we went to Seattle
Okay.
for the weekend. I went to a Seahawks football game,
Oh,
but he
cool.
really wanted to stay at a nice hotel, so I stayed at the Four Seasons, he was happy, so some of times they're a little bit more manageable, but
Yeah.
yeah, so I have kept up with it once a year, so as long as I
I love that.
as long as I can, yeah, through sports and school, but
Mhm.
yeah, I think it's it helps me feel better. There's a lot of guilt, comes with being a working parent and spending time away. There's
Yeah.
things that I miss now. I used to volunteer all the time in the classroom, and now I can't show up quite as often as I
Mhm.
would like to. So it's such a positive thing for our relationship to have this like time away together.
Do you know what else is really cool, which you won't see the benefit for many, many years? I think it's helping them see, like, the mother role in a totally different light, and I think they're gonna, like, they're gonna marry someone who is ambitious, who isn't, you know, she understands that if being a mom is her dream, then let her be a stay-at-home mom, but if someone has aspirations to do something else, they're gonna be so supportive of that, so
They are. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a good point too. Yeah. That they will. They'll
so
look at it in a
they're
completely different
teaching
light.
ways to be really good husbands.
Yes, that's a goal. I mean, when we're on the trips, I do teach them, like, how to date, and they always say, "Well, it's not a date." But I made that I help you give them the credit card and help teach them how to pay or how to we date on the ship, so teaching them just these kind of things,
Yeah,
like how to be, yeah, a partner and a friend, yeah,
how to
along the way.
tip, right?
Yeah,
And
a
when
little
to
bit.
tip.
Yeah,
I love
yes.
that. Love that.
Yeah.
That is such a cool, cool idea. So we are now we're well beyond time. That is such a great way to end. So I'm going to ask my favorite question of the podcast episode, which is what pinch me moment have you had of, since you started this journey of, oh my God, I can't believe I get to do this for a living.
Ugh, I mean, I feel like so many times, I think,
Yeah.
but I was on a fam trip in Greece, GTN fam, and it was the most amazing trip, like, probably one of my favorite trips I've ever taken, just in all of my trips, but connecting with the suppliers that became friends, the other GTN advisors, and then we
Mhm.
were doing this, like, cooking class, and it was just the most beautiful location. I just remember thinking getting back to my hotel room, like, "This is real life? Like, I really get to, like, do this for work? Like, this is work, but, like, like, this is crazy to me."
Yeah.
Um, and it's like that full circle moment of something that I've always wanted to do, and it came back to like, "Wow, I really did this. I figured out how to, like,
Yeah.
go after what I wanted, and then, like, my dreams are coming true, and, like, this is, like, the coolest experience of my life." So, yeah, I
Yeah.
was but, I mean, there's been quite a few moments like that, but I think that trip to Greece was so special. So, so special.
I love that. Oh my gosh, that you captured it perfectly, like, that is why I do get up and do what I do every single day because I know that we are creating the environment for people to have this business and life that they love, and that's a huge part of it is if traveling the world and experiencing the incredible offerings of our travel partners lights you up, just, make a profession out of it. And now we are proving here at GTN that this profession exists. There is longevity to it, you know?
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
it
And build something real and successful, yeah,
exactly.
within it, and have fun along the way, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Have fun along the way. Yeah. Exactly. Well, Ashley, thank you so much for joining us for today's episode. It's been an awesome, awesome conversation. And thank you all for listening today. And we'll see you on the next episode. Bye, everybody.
Bye.